Every single second, mid-market enterprises are hit with an avalanche of unstructured data. Contracts, PDFs, emails, and invoices flood in continuously. Traditional enterprise resource planning systems were engineered decades ago to accept only rigid, highly structured inputs. They are entirely blind to this unstructured reality. Because the core system cannot read a PDF or parse a contract, companies are forced into fragmented workflows, scattering their operations across disconnected instances of QuickBooks, Salesforce, and ADP. To move data between these isolated silos, organizations rely on costly, manual human bridges, armies of clerks retyping information from a screen into a spreadsheet. The software industry's current reaction is to take large language models and attempt to bolt them onto these legacy systems to read the incoming documents. But accounting is a deterministic science. When you inject a probabilistic AI directly into a rigid financial ledger, you create a severe black box. It becomes impossible to trace exactly why the AI generated a specific number. This opacity collides with modern regulatory frameworks. Standards like SOC 2, GDPR, and the EU AI Act demand an immutable chain of evidence that these retrofitted systems cannot provide. Bolting AI onto a legacy ERP creates an unmanageable regulatory compliance risk rather than genuine intelligent automation. True enterprise automation requires a different starting point. The architecture must be built natively around artificial intelligence from day one. This is the engineering premise behind my ERP, a purpose-built platform designed to unify financial, operational, and legal workflows into a single system of record. Rather than sacrificing accuracy for speed, this system solves for unstructured data extraction and mathematically perfect compliance at the exact same time. It relies on two foundational pillars: a Neuro Symbolic AI framework to process the data, and a blockchain-backed immutability layer to secure it. This combination of layers transforms the general ledger into a cryptographically verifiable system of record. To understand how this works in practice, we have to look at the architecture from the bottom up, starting the moment a complex vendor invoice arrives. This diagram illustrates the initial ingestion pipeline. The unstructured text document enters the API layer, where the neural AI begins processing it to be parsed into distinct key-value pairs. At this stage, the system utilizes advanced neural networks, like the Claude API, to read the invoice contextually. This bypasses the need for rigid OCR templates that break the moment a vendor changes their formatting. The neural network analyzes the context to isolate specific financial variables, identifying the vendor name, extracting the exact amount due, and interpreting the payment terms. The final output of this first layer is a permanent conversion. Messy, unstructured text is instantly translated into a clean, structured JSON format. The neural layer successfully solves the problem of data capture. However, because neural networks operate on probability, this data is not yet safe to post directly to a financial ledger. To guarantee accuracy, the newly structured JSON payload is immediately routed to the platform's Node.js backend for processing. Here, it encounters the symbolic logic layer. As this flowchart illustrates, the structured JSON data must pass through a series of rigid, deterministic validation gates containing hard-coded accounting rules, thresholds, and routing protocols. This deterministic layer acts as a strict mathematical constraint. It brackets the probabilistic output of the AI with absolute accounting logic. The mechanism actively cross-references the extracted data, checking the math to catch any AI hallucinations, flagging missing fields, and preventing calculation errors. It is a strict binary validation sequence. The payload either passes the accounting rules completely, or the system triggers an anomaly flag and halts the process. By combining neural extraction with symbolic logic, the resulting neuro-symbolic model safely bridges the gap between unstructured comprehension and strict financial accuracy. Once the data is validated by the rules engine, it moves up the stack to a lightweight UI frontend, where it awaits final execution. This interface uses a side-by-side layout, allowing human operators to instantly verify the pre-filled general ledger entry against the original raw source document. This brings us to a core enterprise design principle: financial software must maintain zero autonomous risk. In this operational workflow, the AI does not make the final decision. It only proposes the general ledger action. A human operator must review the data and explicitly approve or override it. This explicit human-in-the-loop mechanism ensures full operational accountability. It prevents any rogue AI actions from ever altering the core ledger without oversight. Upon human approval, the finalized data packet drops into the multi-tenant Postgres database architecture for storage. At the exact millisecond that human approval is registered, this blockchain-backed audit layer activates. We can see a structured data block being cryptographically hashed and sequentially linked to the underlying chain. A unique cryptographic hash is generated for the transaction. This permanently locks the human timestamp, the AI extraction metadata, and the original source document together in the database. This process enforces dual control protocols natively within the database architecture, ensuring that the record of approval cannot be altered after the fact. By securing the data this way, the cryptographic chain of evidence directly satisfies the most stringent regulatory frameworks, including SOC 2 and the EU AI Act. The addition of blockchain immutability permanently eliminates the accounting black box. The system can mathematically prove the origin, logic, and approval of every single ledger entry. If we zoom out from that single invoice workflow, we can see how this architecture scales across an entire multi-entity enterprise ecosystem operating simultaneously. Applying the Neuro Symbolic pipeline standardizes all incoming data. Distinct streams labeled finance, HR, and legal funnel into a centralized reservoir. These standardized streams pool perfectly into an immutable data lake, cleanly integrating with tools like Power BI and Tableau for instant visualization. This unified architecture destroys fragmented silos. It finally provides executives with a reliable single source of truth to drive real-time organizational analytics. This unified system provides a critical strategic advantage during intense legal litigation or regulatory scrutiny. The platform features native EDRM, or Electronic Discovery Reference Model, integration. Traditional ERP platforms require entirely separate, expensive software suites to handle this level of legal discovery. Because My ERP contextually links every financial transaction directly to its source document and its cryptographic blockchain log, the system is natively audit-ready at all times. This architectural lock guarantees that every ledger entry remains permanent, verifiable, and completely tamper-proof against internal threats or external modification. My ERP acts as a next-generation operating system for complex enterprises, encompassing financial, legal, and operational workflows in a single architecture. Within this single architecture, every unstructured document is readable, every AI decision is human-assisted, and every action is cryptographically auditable.